Hello from Branson, Missouri. I'm in Branson. We just finished with Jim Baker. We talked about the end time and, what we said. And you've heard me, if you're part of Discover Church.Online, we've talked about the timeline, how the Lord has given us a timeline that is pretty easy to explain and very easy to falsify. Like I want you to falsify it. I want you to say the theory is wrong, but each and every day, more and more evidence gathers that we need to scrap all the other timelines that people have been believing and start to look at the book of Revelation as an active occurrence. And that does not mean that the tribulation has started, okay? Because Revelation has a lot to say about things that are pre-tribulation. So I want to cover that. I feel, very importantly, that Ezekiel 33 is my responsibility. And it says that if the watchman, doesn't sound the right alarm, the blood of those who die will be on the watchman's head. It's on my head. So I have to sound the right alarm. I can't do guesswork. And I listen to prophecy stuff right now, and I hear it. I know people are just pulling stuff out of their brain. You can't do that. If I don't know, I tell you I don't know. But if I know, why is it wrong for me to say, as far as I understand God, the Bible, the Holy Spirit, as sure as I've ever been, it looks like Revelation 6 is moving. So let's talk about it. Let's pray about it. So I'm a watchman. I have to tell you the right sound. Again, the word of the Lord came to me, Ezekiel 33, saying, Son of man, speak to the children of your people and say to them, when I bring the sword upon a land, and the people of the land take a man from their territory and make him their watchman, when he sees the sword coming upon the land, if he blows the trumpet and warns the people, then whoever hears the sound of the trumpet and does not take warning, if the sword comes and takes him away, his blood shall be on his own head. All right? But if the watchman sees the sword coming and does not blow the trumpet, and the people are not warned, and the sword comes and takes any person from among them, he is taken away in his iniquity, but his blood I will require at the watchman's hand. So you, son of man, I have made you a watchman for the house of Israel. Therefore you shall hear a word from my mouth and warn them for me. So I'm warning you right now. It's not the rapture this year. It's not the second coming this year. It's not Ezekiel 38 this year. I'm going to have so many negative comments. But I've done my job. You live accordingly. You do what you believe. The trouble is, it's so hard for people to change. You believe some assumed timeline, just an assumption. You just assume. I'll tell you right now, if you say the Antichrist must come at the beginning of Revelation 6, you just assume that. I know you assume that because that's what's been taught for decades and decades in the Protestant circles. But you read the Bible and you'll see the word Antichrist doesn't appear. It just says a white horse. You assumed it's the Antichrist. So the Antichrist hasn't appeared. I agree with you. The tribulation hasn't not started. I agree with you. And yet some people are going to hear me and not hear me. They're going to hear what they want to hear and they want to pick a fight. I'm not here to fight with you. Claiming Jesus is definitely not coming back at a specific day or time is just as bad as saying that you know for certain that he's coming back at a particular day and time. You can't please everybody. All right. Well, this is someone who's not well grounded in scriptures to be saying something like that. But I can say, and I was right, that the rapture was not going to happen on April 8th, and the rapture is not going to happen this year. So there's a few questions about that. So let's address the first question. There are people in the body of Christ who say, and they mean well, with a right heart, they want to just expect Jesus anytime. So they say, you can't say that, Pastor Steve, because the rapture can happen any day. Now, the reason that's unscriptural is that would mean, what you're saying is, you would mean the Hebrew calendar doesn't matter. And God's holy feasts doesn't matter. So the appointed times in English, the moedim are translated, that word is translated, God's appointed time. And they're also translated God's feasts. And you're saying that doesn't matter. Because it's like saying Jesus could come the first time anytime. Jesus could die on the cross anytime. But he can't. He can only die on one day, Nisan 14. Only on that day. Why? Nisan 14 is a full moon. On a full moon, only on that day, there can be an eclipse. And there was some eclipse. There was a solar eclipse. The sun was darkened by the moon or some other object. Depends on whether you believe Planet X or something else. But it had to happen on the day when the sun could be darkened. It had to be the full moon. It had to match with the day that Israel was delivered through the Red Sea. Everything had to match, right? The Passover lamb was killed, and then they left the same day. There's no other day. You can't have Jesus die on any other day. That's the first coming. In the same way, God has marked out Moedim, appointed times, for the second coming. It's as basic as that. I don't know what else to say to Christians. It doesn't mean that I'm not hopeful of the second coming and the rapture. It's not as if I'm not living as though I'm accountable to Him coming back very soon. I'm just as motivated as anybody is. But why would believing the wrong timeline make me act better? It can't be. Can't be true, right? So that answers that. When people say it can happen any day, no, it can't. It has to happen on God's holy calendar, on the Moedim. The rapture, the salvation of Israel, the second coming, the start of the millennium, all of these things have been marked out in God's calendar. We just have to be aware of it, and thank God more people are aware of it. Okay, I hope that helps. All right, let's get back into this question. Let's get back to this question. We got 40 days, right? From the sign of Jonah, April 8th, solar eclipse. If this is part of the sign of Jonah, if it meshes like chronologically and symmetrically, just like Jonah. Jonah said, yet 40 days and then Nineveh will be destroyed. Then we're praying. We got to be praying seriously about the next 40 days or 38 days. And I'm going to give you a link soon where we can pray 24 hours a day. Back to the question, Pastor Steve, you can't say that. It's just as bad to say he's not coming on April 8th or he's not coming this year. The rapture's not going to be this year. It's just as bad as saying you know the date. Okay. Let me take you back in history. For the last 1,900 years, as a Bible teacher, I can confidently say on biblical ground, for the past 1,900 years, the rapture cannot take place. The second coming cannot take place anytime for the past 1,900 years. Why? Because I've got a scripture from Matthew 24 that says, this gospel of the kingdom, very specific, not the gospel of grace that everybody has heard and been taught, not the gospel of love and righteousness, the gospel of the kingdom will be preached in all the world as a witness to all nations, and then the end shall come. Now, how can Jesus violate that scripture? He cannot. He can't. So he can't come and get us in the rapture, or he can't come and defeat the Antichrist in the second coming until at least that scripture is fulfilled. So we're on solid scriptural ground for 1,900 years. Now, what happens when the missionary movements start going and we're going off to the islands and the unevangelized parts of Asia and Africa and all that? Then can we say, okay, anytime now the rapture can happen? Well, no. For the first half of the 20th century, for the first 48 years, if I was a Bible preacher living at that time, I could confidently say the rapture can't happen, the second coming happened for that first half of the century. Why could I be so confident? Because the state of Israel had not yet been born. Now you look back at now and you say it's obvious, like how could the Messiah come back to save the Jewish people and they don't even live in the Jewish promised land? You'd say, well, Pastor Steve, you're right. That doesn't make sense. Okay, well, that's exactly the same spirit in which I say to you, on April 8th, the rapture and the second coming couldn't have happened. Nor will it happen this year in 2024. I can confidently say it. Why? Because we're in Revelation 6. Again, prove me wrong. It's so easy to falsify. I said, in this period of 3 years now, if there's no war, no increasing war, if they all say, yeah, you know what, Israel says we give up, we're not going to fight anybody, and Ukraine says we're just going to sign peace treaty, and everything's going to be great, world peace for 3 years, then it's wrong. But if wars keep escalating and it becomes a global conflict, and wars and rumors of war, wars that really cannot be identified in the traditional sense, is what Jesus termed a great term. Nothing is better than what the Master says. He called it, he projected and prophesied wars, the traditional wars, foreign invasion, and rumors of war, like cyber attacks, like open borders in the South and having 200,000 Chinese migrants come in, 200,000 Muslim migrants come in, 200,000 Venezuelan migrants come in. All people with some kind of agenda against America, right? These are rumors of war. People going out stabbing based on ideology, based on the fact that they believe that you're the infidel. They believe Israel's the little Satan, America's the great Satan. That's what they believe. And we have all these attacks, and we can't really place, well, what's the strategy? Where's the front? How do we end this war? Who do we sign a treaty with? That's a rumor of war. If we don't see these things escalate and increase in these 3 years, and I'm very specific. I've been very specific about the timeline more than any other voice out there, at least publicly, right? I'm sure there are great prophets out there that are speaking and getting the same word privately, but publicly we haven't heard it. And I know that because I'm getting feedback from other, prominent ministers and teachers. So right now it can't happen because you still got the wars that are going to happen during the Red Horse. Jesus can't come back yet during the Red Horse. He can't come back during the Black Horse. The Black Horse means we're going to have the greatest depression. We're going to have recession, then the greatest depression. We're going to have global famine. We're going to have oil prices go up. That's why it's black. I've taught these things a lot of times. We're going to actually put a book out. And I've got a major publisher that says we want this book. So we're going to put this out as fast as we can because it's actually happening in real time. It's been validated. I really believe the Revelation 6 timeline, that is not tribulation. The only thing I'm correcting people is take that out of the tribulation and place it in the pre-tribulation timeline, right? Then at the end of all that, now we can start talking about, okay, when does the tribulation start? But we got, a period of about 10 years where things are very clearly mapped out, in my view. And I've been very vocal about it. And so that's why as it gets validated, confirmed, verified, then I feel such a burden to speak, the prophet's message and say, hey guys, we need to now stop panicking, fearing, and acting on totally irrational guesses. Like people are teaching the Bible and guessing. Just because a drone comes into Israel doesn't mean it's Ezekiel 38. Or you could say that, it's a phase of Ezekiel 38. And I like that. I've heard some Bible teachers say, what if Ezekiel 38 wasn't one event, but a series of events that we have to stretch out over time? Well, then I would agree with you. I would agree. Okay, well then, yes, we've got something akin to Ezekiel 38, but it's not because we're in the Red Horse. So the timeline makes everything clear, which means what? We know exactly what to do in our present time. Nothing to panic about. Unless you're a soldier and you're going to get sent into war, then you need to pray for protection and be ready because a lot more wars are coming in the next 3 years. If I'm wrong, you'll know it. But if I'm right, you'll know it as well. Right? But the thing is, if you keep waiting and waiting, like I heard a pastor today say, he didn't invite me back because he just doesn't agree with my timeline. So I asked him back, I said, what is your timeline? Well, no answer. I said, please tell me, what is your timeline? Teach me. If I'm wrong, teach me. What is your timeline? And all he says is, well, I don't see the white horse has happened. And I've taught that over and over. It's been a few years now. It's as clear as day, right? The white horse is given a corona. It's a crown. The word matches perfectly what's going on. What else is going to match corona? He's going to take a corona and he's going to go conquering the whole world. And there's more to it than that, right? But it lines up perfectly. And then the Red Horse is lining up perfectly. You got the October 7 massacre. You've got Ukraine happening. You've got China constantly attacking our energy grid, cyber attacks, and now you've got a terrorist attack in Australia. And then you've got Iran for the first time. There's a very big escalation. It's not Ezekiel 38, but it's a big escalation. Attacks Israel directly for the first time. So please, it's like the Old Testament. The Lord had me teach 4,000 years of history. 4,000 years of history. This is a course you can take in online church, I think in End Time University. It will show you all the links, so you look in the description box. But 4,000 years of history. The reason I did that is you need to hang all of the books of the Bible, right, on a timeline. If you don't know the timeline of what you're reading, it's extremely confusing. Extremely confusing. If you don't know that there are stages to pregnancy, and you're just doing different things that are just, you're smoking and drinking while you shouldn't be, let's say, and you're pregnant. I mean, that's absolutely wrong, right? But you also have to take care of your body in certain ways. At a certain period of time in pregnancy, they won't even let you fly on an airplane. So you have to know, like, where are you in your timeline, in your pregnancy? What to eat, what to do, how to travel, how to keep your body. That's all I'm saying. The clearer you are about the timeline, the clearer you are about what to do. And that, to me, gives motivation, encouragement, peace, right? Clear-headedness. We are children of light. We should be so clear-headed about what to do now. And that's why I'm going all over the United States. I feel the United States has been given such a grace, such a warning through the 3 eclipses. And I'm trying to go around and say, we're not just repenting to go back to the same thing, we're repenting to go forward to something we haven't been to yet. We are to be the bride of Christ that's to do something with the Lord in co-reigning with Him, in exercising His judicial authority that He's graciously deposited in us through His death, burial, and resurrection, and in filling us with the Holy Spirit and giving us the entire Word of God. Are we not supposed to be better than the first century saints? Have we not gotten more? Are we not told, greater works than these shall we do? He says, the works that I do, you will do also, and greater works than these you shall do, because I've gone to the Father. All right, so I think I've answered that. I hope it's clear. The Lord can't rapture us and come back because He has to fulfill His own word. I'm not saying He can't do something. He can do whatever He wants, but what He wants to do is to fulfill His own word. And His word says sequentially there's going to be a time of war. There's going to be then economic collapse and global famine. There's going to be a third temple that's built. The third temple has to be sanctified, according to rabbis, by the sacrifice of the red heifer, a perfect female cow. There's going to have to be an earthquake, a major earthquake, which we haven't seen yet. Right? We haven't seen. They're not in that sequential order. So no, it's not the economic collapse now. No, it's not Ezekiel 38 and 39 now. But it is an exciting time. It's Revelation 6 now. And I hope more and more prophets and preachers, as they hear me, they're going to start adjusting a timeline. They're going to say, oh yeah, maybe we just adjust this. Don't be embarrassed. Don't feel like I'm correcting or hurting you. I'm not trying to hurt your ministry. None of this matters if we don't pray. None of this matters if we don't pray better than we prayed before. So I'm going to give you a free chapter, a sample of my next book. It's called Get Prayers Answered. It's 30 years of prayers that I prayed that got answered. I'll give it to you for free, a chapter, and I'm going to give you another chapter for free. Okay, but first, the chapter about deliverance based on the book of Jasher, based on the Bible and the book of Jasher. I think it's very interesting. I gave a lot away. Here's where you get it. DiscoverChurch.Online, not Discovery, DiscoverChurch.Online/I pray. I pray. Okay, so you type that in, and you can download the free chapter, and then you can learn how to pray. I think it will really encourage you if you're going through some tough time. Prayers of deliverance. Prayers of deliverance. I have been through it. I have been through it. I've been through the pain, the suffering. I can empathize with you. And I've also been through the deliverance. And so have many Bible heroes and faith heroes. And so I want you to take a cue from how they did it, how they prayed, how they went through it, how they celebrated when they were delivered by God. So that's a very special chapter that I gave away. All right? We're going to have like about 50 chapters in the final book. You and I need to pray together. And we need to pray continuously, 24 hours a day until the day of Pentecost. I know that's a big ask, but I've gotten the agreement of a Christian service provider. This is my private prayer meeting for all of us, all of you who follow me. And I'm going to keep this link going for 24 hours a day for 38 days until the day of Pentecost. Because I really think the way to react to what's going on is not to panic, be in fear, be in confusion, guess, no guesswork about what's coming next. It's pretty clear what's coming.
It asks for a room name, it's Eclipse.
And if so you put your real name in there. We're very big on real name. You put fake name, we'll kick you out. We don't want that. We don't fake trolls, scammers. You've got so many people. I never ask you to send your crypto into some private wallet and contact you about the banking collapse, because I don't even believe that that's happening. Now I know there are banks in trouble and the physical branches are closing down, but we are nowhere near, in my view, all right, the collapse of the US dollar. The US dollar is going up, it's very strong. We're nowhere near the digitalization of US currency. It would wreak so much havoc. They're not ready. The banking system is not ready for it. So you got a lot of these people throwing this stuff around. We're at least 3 years away from that. Plan accordingly, right? Plan accordingly. And I like to be in connection with all the smart people who watch me. You know banking, you know safety, you know how to dig wells, you know solar panels, you know long life food. I want to know all of this stuff so that we can then distill who's got the best of what, and then we can tell our followers, this is how I would prep. This is how I would do it. I want to source the very best of everybody. So I'm going to test it out, but I'm looking at all those things because I don't believe I've been given the knowledge, the timeline, the platform just for me. The Lord wants to save everybody. The biggest thing is to be saved through Jesus Christ. You must believe in Jesus. My goodness, if you don't trust in Jesus now, I'm going to say, sorry, you're a fool. Who have you been trusting in? Is there anybody better, more truthful, more accurate than Jesus and his words? He said, in these last days there'll be wars and rumors of wars. He said they're going to come deceivers. Look at the lockdown. What a deception. Global deception for 3 years. Global deception. Exactly in the order that Jesus said that are the pre-tribulation signs. And he said, don't worry about it yet because it's not the end. When you see these things, wars and rumors of wars, right now, that's what we're in, the red horse, it's not yet the end. We didn't say it's tribulation yet. People like to watch, but people don't like to pray. So I'm going to find out who's who, okay? The lukewarm church versus the on-fire church. The sleepy virgins who are going to say, yeah, that was interesting, I don't believe it. And the on fire, awakened, not woke, awakened virgins. Please come and pray. It's late here where I'm at, but I'm going to pray with you. I want to pray. I'm a watchman. I told you the timeline. I told you what's happening, what is going to come. Dollar's not collapsing. Digital dollar's not coming. Rapture's not coming. I believe it's coming. All it's coming very soon. It's like this. It's very soon. But it's not now. And it's not this year. So live accordingly. That means we got time to build church. We got time to pray. We got time to go evangelize. Rather than sitting around moping, let's do more while we got time. We got time to write books. We got time to spread the message of the gospel. We should be happy because that's what Jesus said. When this gospel of the kingdom reaches all the nations of the world, then he wants to come. Right? We fulfill his desire. You and I get to be part of his desire. So Ezekiel 33, I won't read the whole chapter, but Ezekiel 33 is so important to why I'm adamant about being specific, very precise. Not all the stuff I said is not general. Correct?